Hi, my name is Christian Maynard, and I'm at the American Society of Criminology. We just got out of the You Haven't Seen What podcast, and could you tell me about yourself, your name, and I guess your professional affiliation and that good stuff?
Yeah, sure, no problem. First, thanks for coming to the podcast. It's a fun thing that we always do at ASC for the last 5 years. It's a little bit different because it's not just a regular session, and we do have papers, but we don't necessarily culminate it in a normal, or we do it in a very atypical way. So I'm Joelle Lee Silcox. I'm former chief of staff for Miami Police Department. Currently, I work for a nonprofit as an implementation strategist, and I also work in a consulting group. I'm the head of strategic insights and analytics for the Arise Group. And I also have a podcast with my husband. So there's that piece. And the podcast was born out of a crime movie database that we created. And what we did is take crime movies from 1970 to, at the time, 2017, and there was no actual database out there. There were portions or pieces or best of, but not a complete database. So we did that, wrote very short synopsi, like 1 sentence, 2 sentences, because the hope was, and categories, the hope was so that teachers could utilize it in their classrooms as a teaching tool, or hey, pick a movie in crime and media, tell me about X, Y, and Z police portrayals. Because, if you have a crime and media class, the idea of social constructionism and how we construct and see things, how we see things and construct things is very oftentimes dictated by media. And the movies, whenever you have something as huge as Silence of the Lambs, for example, how many women wanted to be profilers afterwards? How many people wanted to be FBI profilers afterwards? Top Gun, which is not a crime movie, but you could see the influence of movies by the amount of people that then applied for the Air Force afterwards and things like that. So the influence is super real, and I think we need to really think about how we're ingesting things. So when we bring the podcast, we do so with 2 really great people most of the time. So it's Adam, who is from Curry College, and he teaches crime and media, and he has a class called Criminology Goes to Movies. And we also do it with Caroline Comerford from Sacred Heart University and CVC Research and Consulting, who specializes in serial killers and serial offenses. So we get practitioners in the room. I have policing practitioner, and they both have, academic and real life research in that manner. And Perry, my husband, actually is a film buff pretty much and works within media and produces media all the time. And has worked in the film industry. So it's very helpful in that way to have that, the different aspects in the different groups. So
I guess what got you into, we're clearly at an academic conference,
right,
which I'm very used to. You only see PowerPoints.
Right.
That's the only thing you're going to see.
Yeah.
It's going to be papers.
Yeah.
But you're doing more academic work that's podcast style. I guess, what was it that made you think, I should this should be a route that needs to get messed with more? And what do you hope to gain by operating in this new medium that is,
it's
kind of increasing, it seems.
It is. I think there are 2 things. I think when I initially did it, it was really more about the database, right? It was because I loved my crime and media class that I was a part of and my bachelor's, and the idea of social constructionism and how we really look at things and fear of crime and everything else. So when I started doing that, it was just man, there's just so much here. It really is. If you think about police academies, and I'm dating myself, how bumbling cops seemed in the 80s, right? If you think about Training Day and the portrayal of a black man, Denzel Washington, as the corrupt cop versus the white Ethan Hawke. We could talk about cop buddy things. We could talk about portrayal of police. We could talk about portrayal of serial killers, accurate or not. So for me, it's let's have a deeper discussion in person and doing a podcast, because my husband and I already had a podcast already, but let's bring that here and let's do something different. I'm always trying to do something different. I think that conferences are really what you make it. I think that your presentations are really what you make it. There's a whole culture behind me presenting. I always bring food. That is a thing because that is the way that I express appreciation.
I told my friend before we went into the conference, he's like, "Oh, I'm thinking about getting a snack," and I was like, "Don't do it. They're probably gonna have donuts." That's one of the selling points of going to this.
It is.
We got our coffee. I was like, "We're gonna get a donut.
Yes.
Trust me."
Yeah, and the thing is, it's so funny. The thing is, it started because we had an 8:00 panel the first time, and I'm like, man, this sucks. So I think we had the coffee and munchies, and I don't know if we had donuts, but we had it. And then every time we go to a new city, I really try to get an authentic local shop donut shop to get from, and that's sort of our thing. Because I think it's important. People took time out of their day to come in, and you're probably rushing in conference, you probably haven't eaten, and so whether it's the middle of the day or afternoon, you want to pick me up, and then we do donuts, and then we do swag, right? So if you don't want to eat the sweet, there's something else for you. And I think that's important too. It's about how do you connect with the person while they're there in the room, and how do you leave an impression after they left to maybe do something different. If we all follow the same pattern, guess what we're going to have? The same thing. Right? And I'm over sitting in a room where people are talking at me for an hour and a half. I really am. In this version, it's we are trying to entertain you. We're trying to get you to critically think about what we're talking about. Maybe show the movie in a different light. We're not trying to feed you the movie. We're not trying to necessarily feed you what we think you should think about this thing, right? We're just trying to have a discussion it's really 4 friends, at a table having a discussion, and you get to be invited. And this one, you're going to learn all about my psychoses. But yeah, we're honest and transparent in that moment, and I think that resonates. It's different.
I definitely see that. I definitely see this as a unique format. I mentioned to you that this actually was part of my inspiration for deciding to just go ahead and say, all right, let's give this a try, because I had been toying with the idea, but then when I seen other people do it and I'm seeing this format grow, it's okay, you are some of the pioneers in this academic space, I would say.
Oh, geez. Thanks.
At least from a crim side of things. Because I have not seen a similar...
And here's the thing. It's what's the cutting edge? The reality is that your students are also younger. So what are they going to listen to? You could assign an hour podcast them or say, hey, choose a movie and here are all the different things out there for you, right? And I think that's what is great about it, is that we don't have to all learn the same anymore. We don't have to do the same thing, and we can be different. So why not be different? Why not be on a cutting edge of something instead of sitting by the wayside? I think it's a lot of fear and change. Sometimes people are really afraid to do something different because they're well, what if no one shows up? Okay, that's okay. There's a next time, right? And a next time. And it's funny, this time I'm so surprised to see so many new people. It's always generally people coming back and bringing their friends, and I know the flights and everything got messed up, but we've had somebody who's been there every single time we presented. And there was one time where we didn't because I was super, super sick. Sorry. I was super sick, and she's I was looking for you. And I'm oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. But yeah, and I think there's greatness in that, It's not for everybody. That's okay.
Yeah.
Right? But I think it's our fear of failure and doing something different or out of the norm, that people won't love it. That's okay. You just have to love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's an audience that will enjoy it somewhere.
I'm excited when I'm excited when the first person comes in. I am. I'm excited when the second person comes in. I'm excited when people are coming in the middle. I'm excited when people are leaving because they've determined this is way too great. That means they're not filing a complaint. I'm excited for all of it because I think everyone should figure out what's for them,
All right, I got a 2-part question. This will be my last one because I know you got
ahead.
Yep. What do you find that the movies get particularly right about police or crime, and what do they particularly get wrong? What's the egregious and what's the all right, this is they get this one right, but this they always kind of are egregious about?
Wow, what do they get right? Well, I think we talked about this a little bit in this one. They definitely, movies where you have a female character central to it, they definitely get the feeling of the chauvinistic moments in it. And that's true of Police Academy or Hannibal or Silence of the Lambs. Like, you see that. So there is a chauvinistic side that they always seem to want to talk about. Fair, because it exists, still exists. I'm not saying all police are like that or all agencies are like that or all men are like that. I'm saying that it does exist within the constraint. And I like to name the thing because it helps you then maneuver within the thing, right? Like, you can plan around it. And then what do they get horribly wrong? I'd probably say forensics most of the time. It's forensic and like procedure at a crime scene most of the time, and like how an investigation is run. Very wrong. There's so much more to it. There's so many more layers. And when you show inaccurate things that are then this is why it's egregious. When you show inaccurate things that are then gonna end up going to court, and people have watched these movies now, and we have things like the CSI effect. Like, you have to have CSI, you have to have fingerprints. Like, why don't you have fingerprints? And why don't you have blood? And why don't you have DNA? And all of these things. And it's like, man, that is not how every crime scene works. Like, that is just the reality of that. And the same thing is true for the investigation. Like, sometimes it's not the same detective all the way through. Sometimes it's a cold case, and you have multiple detectives that have worked it. And they're important to hear from every single one. You're like, why can't I just hear from one and call it a day? You know? So I think those things that then result in real world consequences, that's the egregious part for me, because I feel like people don't have a true accurate understanding of what police procedure looks like or what forensics really look like.
Oh, I concur. I mean, I think that's like one of the things I've learned the most going through my dissertation program and studying like crime. It's like, it's complicated. Like, the court, like, I talk to judges who don't even like fully understand every little facet that goes into arrest versus not arrest versus services versus, jail and like all of that. Like, there's just a lot of
layers.
It's like there's a whole bunch of bureaucratic systems that are not talking to each other, but they are.
I mean, and within an agency, you have silos not talking to each other. So, it's trying to understand and piece together, and this is probably the part that I love about being a practitioner and doing what I do a lot of the time and consulting with agencies, is getting people to understand the systems so you can move forward, and naming the things, right? It's really important. Like, let's name the things, let's figure out how we then strategize around the constraints that we already have, right? And can we remove any of these constraints? And if not, how do you then work with it to have a positive outcome? How do you get a win even though you have constraints? So yeah, that's like a new thing that I've been doing, like adaptability quotient. I guess, how do you go ahead and work within constraint to actually have a positive outcome? And yeah, I think that's a lot of it now too. How do you have that new idea? How do you take that risk? How do you take that chance? Yeah. What does a win look like to you? What's your definition of done or your definition of the win before you go into a project? So I think there's a lot of that, but yeah, the bureaucratic crazy it's tough.
Lot.
It's tough. It's really tough.
But okay, thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
I really
Pleasure.
appreciate that.
Yeah, you got it.
Joelle.
Yes.
Joelle.
Like Danielle, Michelle, Joelle.
Yeah. Thank you so much,
You're
Joelle.
welcome.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too.
Yeah, this was, and your podcast is, what is it?
You haven't seen what?
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank
you.
And
I will link your stuff below. And
perfect.
all that
Thanks
good
so much.
stuff.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
Oh.